welcome to Sports Time with Chris. I'm your host, Chris, and today I'll be previewing the 49ers versus Saints game. But before we get to that, there is a lot to talk about because this week has been full of news for the 49ers. Unfortunately, most of it bad news, some of it good, but I would say most of it pretty bad. But starting with the good news, the 49ers beat the Seattle Seahawks 17-13. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch the game, and for that matter, I wasn't even able to listen to the game because of stupid NFL rules. I used to be able to listen to it on just on the radio, or you could listen to the radio on your phone or computer, and apparently you're not able to do that anymore unless you have a subscription to NFL Plus. So that was disappointing, but I was able to follow along with the ESPN app and on Twitter. So that was nice. Relatively, out of all the websites, Twitter definitely was the fastest at getting highlights out. So while I wasn't able to watch things live, I was able to watch them pretty soon after they happened. And then, I really had to rely on watching those clips. And then the Johnny Dell Football Academy. If you don't follow Johnny Dell and Johnny Dell's Football Academy, I highly recommend that you do, because he breaks down the game. He has the literal plays from the 49ers playbook, and he's able to dissect everything that's going on. And so that's where a lot of my information is coming from. So I'm not going to go super deep into the game, but we're going to start off with Brock Purdy. Of course, I thought Brock played well. He made a couple of bad mistakes, sure, but ultimately he did come through when it mattered the most. I feel like in this game we saw Brock really do what Brock does. I mean, honestly, he was on time with his throws for the most part. I mean, that first interception that he threw, thanks to Johnny Dell, you can see that he takes just a little, he's thrown off his back foot. He really took an extra step backwards, and that caused him to not get the distance on the ball that he normally does. He had Juwan Jennings. If he threw that ball just a little bit, if he threw it on time, he had Juwan Jennings, it would have been a completion instead. Because he took the extra time, it gave the defender time to get under the ball and, of course, intercept it. And then the second interception, kind of weird. While it wasn't a great decision, a lot of people were saying that Brock was throwing into triple, quadruple coverage. It just wasn't true. On that play, he is targeting the crossing route that Ricky Pearsall was running. I think MVS was running a clear out route, and then there was a little swing route over to the left as his check down. But what happened was MVS didn't run his route. He didn't sell the clearing route, and so that defender was able to come down on the ball. The underneath defender who was on the swing was able to drop back and essentially read the crossing route. He's the one that made the pick. And then Ricky Pearsall just had tight coverage on him. So while it wasn't a great decision by Brock, it wasn't as bad as it seemed to be in that moment or when you watch the broadcast versions of that play, because it does look like he's throwing into triple coverage when it just simply isn't true. Now, Shanahan did say that that's a play that Ricky really it's really on Ricky to prevent an interception there, which is interesting. But yeah, ultimately on that last drive, Brock hit Ricky Pearsall on a double move, targeting Rick Woolen, who literally gave up a perfect passer rating in that game. So if you want to beat the Seahawks, just target Rick Woolen. But yeah, Brock made some clutch plays, some really clutch plays. And then on, of course, the game-winning play where he did what he can do, which is buy some time, go out there, run around, and then ultimately find Jake Tonjes there. Now, I don't think he threw the ball exactly where he wanted to, kind of based on what he said. He said he was aiming for the back of the end zone, and he kind of threw it in front. I mean, we all saw where he threw it. It looked like he was going right for Rick Woolen, and then Jake Tonjes, of course, the hero who made his first career catch in this game, ended up with 3 catches, including this game winner. So awesome game. I wish I could have watched it, but also it seemed like it was pretty ugly. So hopefully they can get things cleaned up from here on out. All offseason, I've been hyping up Robert Saleh and this defense, and they really showed up in this game. They do have a few things they need to clean up in the secondary, but overall they looked solid. I think Seattle, their 2 longest running plays were like 7 and 8 yards. So running wise, they played well. But again, a few things to clean up in the passing game. Diamador Lenore, I don't think gave up any catches when he was targeted. He continues to be solid. Fred Warner was Fred Warner. And of course, the guy, Nick Bosa, came through in the clutch. He made one of those plays that you expect one of these high caliber, top of the line defensive players to make. And while Nick Bosa makes a lot of plays during games, he's never made I can't remember a play like this where he's made the game winning play or the play at the end of the game. You know, we've seen TJ Watt do it. We've seen other guys do it. But Nick Bosa, you know, this is the first time that I can remember this happening. And some people don't think that this should count as a sack for Nick Bosa because he didn't touch the quarterback. I think it's just wild because what he did, I think, was even more impressive. 6'4", 266-pound Nick Bosa just completely bull rushed 6'6", 322-pound Abraham Lucas. Just made him look absolutely silly. Drove him basically all the way from the line of scrimmage into Sam Darnold and caused him to fumble the ball, and ultimately Nick Bosa recovered that fumble. But the thing is, he made him look like he was pushing a sled. Like Abraham Lucas had no chance on that play. And if you look at the Johnny Dell breakdown, you'll see earlier in the game, Nick Bosa does something very similar. It doesn't quite get to Darnold, but pretty close. So yeah, Nick Bosa, he must have felt confident once he did that the first time, and he knew he was set up for success. And on that first one, I think he even got chipped by a tight end. I am not remembering it right now, but I think on that last play, they only had Abraham Lucas on Nick Bosa, which is just stupid. Really dumb. For some reason, Seattle really seemed to be focusing on Micah Williams. They were double teaming him quite a bit. He didn't make a lot of plays on the, that go on the stat sheet, but he was eating up a lot of double teams for some reason. They seemed to be really scared of him. And Nick Bosa at the end of the game was just bullying Abraham Lucas. So, that's the Nick Bosa that we've been wanting, and it was nice to finally get him. And unfortunately, there were some major injuries that happened in this game. And I say major, they weren't, how do I say this? The injuries themselves weren't major, but they happened to major players. The first one, of course, the biggest one, Brock Purdy. He'll be out 2 to 5 weeks with a turf toe injury, although Shanahan was not clear on what exactly it was. He said it was kind of like turf toe. So, just Shanahan being all weird about injuries and not upfront about it. And then George Kittle was placed on IR with a hamstring injury. Just too bad. It's too bad. I thought Kittle was going to have a monster year. He was apparently he was going to be a major part of the game plan against Seattle, and they had to adjust, which I think overall they did. Now, part of the reasons why they didn't score as many points as they could have was Jake Moody. He missed a pretty easy field goal, and ultimately he has been released. And Eddie Piniero was signed. Eddie Piniero has at this moment the 3rd highest field goal percentage in NFL history, which is awesome. One thing that I did notice when I was looking at Eddie Piniero's stats, his extra point percentage is actually worse than Jake Moody's. Maybe I should. Yeah, Jake Moody's field goal percentage on ESPN, it shows 100%, but he's literally 94 of 96, which is about 97%, and Eddie Piniero is at 94. So, I mean, missing extra points, it does matter, especially in the Super Bowl. So hopefully Eddie Piniero will stay the 3rd highest field goal percentage in NFL history. I can live with that. And a lot of people are questioning why he wasn't on a team to begin with. It seems like he was really looking for an opportunity to play on a contender, and a lot of the contenders just don't have need for a kicker. Of course, we saw what happened with the Bills. So I'm not sure why. I don't know if he was in contention to sign with the Bills or not, or if he was looking for more of a long-term deal, and he realized that one would be probably more short-term. But he did say that he had he was supposed to fly out to Atlanta, and when the Niners called, he's like, nope. I thought this was hilarious. When they were interviewing him, he said he had the choice between Atlanta and San Francisco. Someone asked him, why did you choose San Francisco? And he's like, I want to win games. He's funny. I like him so far. he also said he knows if he misses field goals, he'll be out of here really quick. So I think this is horrible, but I think it would be hilarious if they go out and attempt a relatively short field goal and he misses. That would just be funny. I don't know, man. Jake Moody's not on the team anymore, so what a waste of a third-round pick. I like Jake Moody. I think he could. I just don't think they should have picked him third overall. Who knows? Maybe that really messed with him psychologically. Shanahan said that that's a large part of the reason why they couldn't depend on him anymore, is he just essentially got into his own head and wasn't confident. So hopefully Jake Moody does find somewhere where he has an opportunity. I really do think he's talented and he can be a really good kicker, but a fresh start is probably needed for both sides at this point, which is why they made that move. And I think it's the right decision. Another signing this week, Kendrick Bourne makes his return to San Francisco. This is in the wake and then the following Juwan Jennings shoulder injury that he sustained against Seattle. Now that shoulder injury, I've got to say, looked a little. There's a play where the Seattle defender just came up and it seemed like an unnecessary hit to me. I mean, it is football, but very unfortunate for Juwan Jennings to have to deal with that. Hopefully he can be back soon. Kendrick Bourne he has a familiarity with the offense, and so hopefully he can pick it up quickly. And while I don't think he's I don't know, we'll have to see what Kendrick Bourne looks like. Very, very interesting. There was speculation all offseason about whether they would bring him in or not, and they finally did. And that brings us to the 49ers versus New Orleans Saints. The Niners are currently 3.5-point favorites despite all the injuries, and I feel the same way. There are a few reasons why I'm confident the 49ers will beat the Saints. Number one has to be the defense. Robert Saleh has already been showing exotic looks. He's been doing that since the preseason. And in this last game, he was doing it again. There was D. Winters. I didn't get to watch the game like I said earlier, but it seemed like D. Winters, based on what everyone else was saying, he was flying around. And that showed up a little bit on the film. He completely blew up Charbonnet on a blitz when Charbonnet was pass protecting, and it messed up Sam Darnold. And so, yeah, I think Robert Saleh is going to get Spencer Rattler in this game. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. While I do have confidence in the offense and in Mac Jones. I mean, I've said all season, Mac Jones is one of the most solid backups in the NFL. Even last week, yes, it was the first game of the year. It was a divisional opponent. The offense, they controlled the ball pretty well, but they didn't put up a lot of points. And so I think New Orleans defense is not as good as Seattle's. Obviously, the Niners are missing George Kittle now and Juwan Jennings, and they have Mac Jones at quarterback. So I just don't see them putting up that many points. I think it'll be a respectable amount of points, but it's not going to be high scoring. And I think Mac Jones has an opportunity to prove himself. The Niners gave him a 2-year deal. He's got to make the most of these opportunities because he's still relatively young. I'm sure he still wants to be a starter in the NFL. And in these few games when Brock is out, he's got an opportunity to showcase himself. And I think that'll be motivating for him. It'll motivate him to not make bad mistakes, play good, solid football, and potentially earn himself another job in the future. So that's a part of the reason why I feel confident in Mac Jones. Another reason is Kendrick Bourne was brought in. Kendrick and Mac played together in New England, and they have some familiarity with each other. Bourne said that Mac has been helping him kind of get acclimated to being back in San Francisco. We'll have to see how Kendrick Bourne looks. I don't know what his conditioning looks like or how much the playbook has really changed. Probably not much. So we'll see how much playing time he gets. But I think in this game we can expect a lot of CMC, Brian Robinson, and with a successful running game, some play action offense as well. The keys to this game on offense: control the ball and protect it. This means run, play action. For the quarterback, please don't make stupid decisions. While yes, Brock Purdy made some. And the thing is, his decisions weren't bad, but timing on that first interception was just bad. And then the second one, really more unfortunate than anything. But offensive line also has to protect the quarterback. Mac Jones is not as mobile as Brock Purdy. He is a little bit mobile, but not as mobile as Brock Purdy. Don't get him killed, because behind him is Adrian Martinez. And at that point, Adrian Martinez has never thrown an NFL pass. At least, I'm not sure if that's regular season. Yeah, I'm sure that's just regular season. Hopefully he's thrown a preseason pass at least. Yeah, the Niners would be screwed if he has to go into the game. defensively forced New Orleans to throw the ball last week against the Cardinals. Spencer Rattler went 27-46 for 214 yards and no touchdowns, but also no picks. All the running backs averaged over 4 yards per carry, and Rattler ran the ball as well, so you got to keep an eye on him. Juwan Johnson and Chris Olave are the biggest receiving threats. I think the 49ers can neutralize them, and they should expect a quick passing game as well. Of course, the newest kicker, Eddie Piniero, is going to be a key in this game. I think it's going to be low scoring, potentially a few field goals. So we'll have to see how he looks. And it would be huge to get an NFC win on the road with a bunch of backups. The 49ers schedule really is super favorable, and they really need to take advantage of that. So I think the Niners will win this game 20-6. That's everything I have for today's episode. Hopefully I'm able to watch this game. We'll see. It is supposed to be on TV, but part of the reason why I'm not doing NFL ticket this season is because, especially during the fall time, I want to spend quite a bit of time outside and just doing things. So we'll see if I catch this one. Hopefully I can. I was a little bit bummed not to be able to watch last week's game. I saw a graphic, and maybe it was an old graphic that showed the 49ers Seahawks game was supposed to be broadcast in my area, but I could not find it anywhere. So that's that was too bad. Hopefully, we'll see if I watch this one, but really hoping for 49ers win. They need to take advantage of this easy schedule and quite honestly, a team that is just not very good. And with that being said, thank you for listening, and I'll catch you hopefully after a win next week. I'm going to try to be a little bit more on top of recording things throughout the week. Just a little bit busy as usual this week. It's just become a common theme for me I don't think I'm going to be that busy, and then I end up being super busy. So I want to try to put out more clips throughout the week that I can add to the Friday show. And it's going to do it. Thanks again for listening. Please subscribe and follow me and all that. I appreciate every single one of you. This has been Sports Time with Chris.